I absolutely love how engaged you all are and how interested you are in me personally, especially in one of my recent videos. I got a lot of questions from you. So I thought I would actually make a video and just answer the questions that you guys had. I actually printed them out. I gathered them from the comments. I printed them out and wanted to go through them one by one because, yeah, you are interested in what I'm doing about my life and you have very legit questions. Will you change the name Our Gabled Home? No. I got a lot of good ideas from you all what I could call my channel, but I think I will just keep it because Our Gabled Home really is me and not a house, and I'm taking the spirit and the idea and the brand with me no matter where I am. And here I am in my new home after my divorce, and Our Gabled Home is not going anywhere. It's here to stay. Why are you still wearing a wedding ring? That one I really liked because, yes, I do like practical jewelry. I don't like big things that snag on things or, get stuck on your clothes. However, this is not my wedding ring. This is an Aura ring. If you haven't heard about it, it measures your stress levels. And this past year I was very stressed, and sometimes it also tracks your sleep, it tracks your body temperature, it does a whole bunch of things, and it helps me understand my stress levels and manage them, which is something I really have to do because, yeah, there have been times when I was really, really, really stressed out about life, about my future, about the future of my channel, and all of these things. So that's an Aura ring. It's not my wedding ring. But good question. Why are there no photos of your children? I love that one too. And it gave me time to pause because, yes, you're right. I have paintings and photographs up of my great grandparents and grandparents and parents, but I didn't have any of my children. And you're right. And maybe I need to change that. However, I do feel like I do see my kids all the time. Not all the time. Not as often as I would like, but often enough that I don't need necessarily mementos of them because they're in my life. What country, state are you filming from, and where are you living? This is something that trips people up because I often record videos in Germany, but I speak English, and some people hear my little accent, and some videos, some days it's a little bit more obvious than others. But I live in the United States, in Northern California, but I do go home to Germany all the time. So that's why I often record videos in Germany, but I live here. And I film, I do film when I'm in Germany, and I mostly film when I'm here. Did I grow up in America? No, I didn't. I grew up in Germany. I have a video right here in which I talk a little bit about where I came from. I was born in Stuttgart. I call Berlin my hometown for a number of reasons. But no, I did not grow up in this country. I moved here as an adult. Did my grandparents live in the US or in Germany? Well, I should have posed the questions, or I should have organized the questions in a different order. All my grandparents, all my family always lived in Germany. Nobody has ever lived in the States. I'm the only one from my family who moved here in my mid-20s or so, and everybody is still and was in Germany. Are you living close to your sons? So yes and no. So my older one lives about an hour away, which is too unfortunate. He also has a really a good job, but very stressful job. So I don't, as I said earlier, I don't get to see him as often as I would love to. We have made a video together that I'm linking right here. And I hope that he's going to show up in more videos because he's really fun to do videos with. My younger one, however, lives within walking distance, and it's really nice if I make a recipe and I need a recipe tester, and he's an awesome recipe tester because he doesn't need to be diplomatic with me. He can just be really honest and open, like, Mom, yeah, this is good, but. So I can actually walk there and drop something off and then get his feedback. So I have a built-in taste tester in my neighborhood. Would you ever move back to Germany? That's a really complex question. Well, the question is easy, but the answer is complex. A part of me would love to be closer to my mom, closer to my brothers, closer to my nephews and the one niece that I have. But then I've lived here for so many years, actually it's going to be 30 years this year, that it's almost like I want to take the best from here and take it there, or take what I miss from Germany and have it here. So at this point, and also as long as my kids are here, it would really be a difficult decision to make to be an 11-hour plane ride away from my kids. What I could see myself do is live there for a little bit, for some months, and then come back and split time between here and there. But then that gets really interesting logistically. So that's just in my head right now, but there's nothing imminent. Where's your furniture from in your house? So this is the video about my home tour. Most of the furniture, not all of it, but most of the furniture is actually from Germany. Most of the furniture, even I want to say 80-90%, is from my grandparents. And it just so worked out. It wasn't planned that way. It just so worked out. I did have a few pieces, but when my grandmother died in 2004, I went to her house and said, oh, I would love this and I would love that. And then I had it shipped with a container to this country. Where's the furniture from my other house? Well, whatever was my furniture that, I inherited, I took with me, and then whatever was my ex-husband's, that just stayed. So we didn't quarrel. We're actually still really good friends, which is really nice, but we didn't quarrel over anything. And yeah, we're just being really adult about these kind of things. Did I keep any of it? Yeah, I kept all of my furniture, and it's mostly sentimental. So like I said, there was no question about who keeps what. Did I take my cast iron skillets? Yes, I did. Unfortunately, I don't have the wall space to have that kind of custom cast iron skillet rack that I had in my previous kitchen. So those are relegated to a kitchen cabinet. I have to say that I wasn't able to take all of them because of space, but I took the ones that I thought I needed the most. And I'm still cooking with cast iron because it's just my favorite cookware to cook with. How did the furniture get to America? In a container. And here's what you can do. And I've done both. You can either hire a moving company and tell them you're moving overseas, and then depending on how much you want to take, you can get a half container or a full-size container. They're 20 feet or 40 feet, and then they're pretty much standardized, so they all fit on the cargo ships, and it's a little bit like Legos. They kind of stack them really space efficiently. It takes about 6 weeks or so for the furniture to get here. Then it needs to move through customs. There's that. And then depending on how far away from a port you live, you need to get it trucked from the port to your house. So I have done that. I have also, with my grandmother's furniture, which wasn't even a half container, it wasn't enough. And I didn't want to pay for a half container because then I'm not using all the space, but I'm paying for the entire container. So what I did when you gotta love these kitties that, I don't know, there's something about me talking or so where they get really interested and then they just want to be in on the action. So he's really trying to go somewhere, do something. Where was I? Yes. So then what I did is, because I didn't need the furniture urgently, I asked the moving company to hold it for me in a storage, and when somebody else moves and has space enough in their container, that I do a share, like a container share with them. So I had to wait maybe, let me see, I had to probably wait 6 to 8 months or so, and that was fine because I didn't need it urgently and I didn't have the space for it at that time, and so yeah, that worked out perfectly. So there's different ways how you can get furniture and goods from Germany to here. And that also came by ship, obviously. Do you have a bathroom, a laundry room, and storage area? Yeah, in my video, I did not show you my bathroom, my laundry room, or any storage areas. So I do have a bathroom, and I do have a separate laundry room, which I'm very grateful for, that I have a door I can close. So if I'm doing something, let's say I'm recording a video, or I don't really need to do any washing when I'm sleeping, but you don't necessarily hear the washing machine going or the dryer. I don't also use the dryer a whole lot. I like to hang dry my laundry more than dry it in the dryer. And I do have a storage area where I can have some storage, and then I have a little, what do you call it, offsite storage, where I have some items that just didn't fit in here quite right. Do I find it interesting that American homes, the front doors open directly into the living room? Well, I don't know if that's true for all American homes, but for many of them it surely is. This is a built out, not really a basement, but sort of like a basement. And it was a little bit like it's a 1920s house, so it's a little bit of an after the fact. So in this space, it makes a lot of sense for the front door to open right into the living room. Also, if you don't have a lot of space, you don't really have that. Now, I don't know about other states in this country, but in Germany, you typically have a hallway, and then you have what we call a Windfang, where you come into the house, but there's some other door that the cold air doesn't blow right into your home in the winter, but actually there's sort of like a room before you enter the house, and also that people don't necessarily stand right in your living room. Now, this is different. I think it's cute. I think it's cozy. It hasn't bothered me, but that was definitely a very interesting question that I thought warranted an answer. What is that device on your kitchen island? I got so many questions about that. That is my grain flaker that I also took from my previous kitchen. And it makes oat flakes. I have also done a video about an electric oat flaker that I'm linking right here. You can look that up. And the idea and the concept is the same whether you do a manual flaking or electric and just plug it into your outlet. Now, this one, my manual one, isn't really hard, but yes, you need to move it, but it has a really long, what do you call it, crank. And with that, you do have a lot of leverage. You know, the longer this something is, the more leverage you have. It's a lever, I think, right? Physics. And also, I'm usually just flaking a small amount for myself, but flaking your own oats is so much better than buying them from the store. And I'm talking a little bit more about that in the video that I've been mentioning that I did about why it's actually better to flake your own grains. So this particular grain flaker is one that I bought in Germany. I always wanted to get it. They're a little bit on the higher priced end, but because they're made from wood and they're made from they're really high quality, I was waiting for some deal. And when I was in Germany, this one was on sale. And so I just went, I gotta get that, and I brought it back. You can buy them here because they are an import and they don't necessarily have an authorized seller here in this country. They tend to be a little pricey. However, if you do go to Germany or you know somebody who does on a regular basis, it's definitely worth asking them. It always depends a little bit on the exchange rate, what you're currently paying for them. It's an Eschenfelder Flockenquetsche, which Eschenfelder grain flaker. Have you ever had a cuckoo clock? You know, I haven't. And it's so funny because my parents always hated cuckoo clocks and thought they were cheesy, they were touristy, they were, I don't know, all sorts of, not so pleasant things. And so that kind of stuck with me, that I thought, ooh, if I ever have a cuckoo clock, they'll judge me, or, my mom will judge me and they think that, there's something wrong with me. No, my grandfather had a cuckoo clock. It was one that he had to wind up every single day. But whenever we came, he would proudly wind it and then make the cuckoo come out and do his little cuckoo, cuckoo. And we loved it. So recently I've been thinking, I'm really cultivating my German heritage, and cuckoo clocks are from the Black Forest, from Schwarzwald, and that is where I was born, not necessarily in the Black Forest, but in that area close to it. And so I'm thinking, so maybe I should think about having a cuckoo clock. And I don't know. You guys can let me know in the comments if you have a good source for cuckoo. Well, then also if I go to Germany, I can just get one from there. Oh, and why don't I have wheels on my kitchen island? Well, I actually do. But because of the specifics of my place here, it works better that I have the wheels facing into the room rather than to the wall. Now, when I move the kitchen island, I'm usually lifting the side that's towards the middle of the room, so the wheels are actually not moving, they're not rolling, they're not turning. But I did put some little felt pads underneath it because I am using it a little bit more often than I thought I would, because I use my grate flaker and I record videos, and yeah, and sometimes when I have friends or family over and I entertain, we put things on it that don't fit on my little dining table. So I am using it a little bit more often, and I don't want to scratch up the floor. Will you ever share your sewing content? Yes, I will. I do want to sew some more cushion covers, and I have some other sewing projects that I want to do. I want to be honest, I don't heat my bedroom, and I call it my craft room, is right off my bedroom. There's no door between it. And it's in the winter, I don't heat it over there, and it's really cold. So I couldn't really see myself sitting there and sew when it's all cold or I need to bundle up. But now that the weather is getting warmer and summer is just around the corner, I am so looking forward to doing all of my little sewing projects in there. And yes, I will keep you all posted what I'm doing and share some of it. Will you and your son do a pizza video? Yes, so I did talk about the Uni pizza oven that we gave him some years ago, and he is a bit of a he's also an engineer, so he likes to do things right, and they have to be just so. And he found a original Italian Neapolitan, is that the word, how you say it? Well, the pizza from Naples. And we've been making this pizza, and it's so good. And he has the right patience for it, where I sometimes say good enough is good enough. He's like, no, we have to do it right, and we have to wait, and we have to do this, and we have to do the other. So yes, and I will bring the pizza oven over here, because where he lives, within walking distance, he has a bit of a deck area, but it's not quite as nice. And I kind of like the idea of him coming here, and we're doing pizza parties here. So yes, hopefully I can drag him in front of the camera. No, he's shown up on videos before, but he's very photogenic and very, very good on video. And yes, I'd love to share how we make pizza. And also I am working on a true sourdough pizza recipe that I would love to share, because the one that we're currently using is a yeast-based. It's long fermented and has a poolish and all of that, but yes, so that's coming. Do I have a recipe book? Yes, and let me get that. It's a little bit like musical chairs here. I move and then the cats get my spot. This is my sourdough simplified book that I have. The link is in the description box below. And this is specifically sourdough. It has my method, and then it has a number of recipes. But I am thinking about writing a German recipe book. Now, if you have any thoughts about that, or any inspiration, or any wishes for a wish list, you can leave that in the comments below. As you know, I read my comments. I don't always get to answer every single one, but I really, really, really try to read them, because I am so interested in what you have to say, in your questions, in your ideas, because ultimately without you, I wouldn't be here. So I want this to be a two-way street. And I also am working on something really exciting and offering, so stay tuned for that. You might want to check the YouTube community post section a little bit more often. And also, if you're not subscribed to my newsletter, make sure you are, because that's where I always share the latest and greatest and give you all my updates. And when I'm working on something, or when I'm working on something new or building something new, have projects going. So make sure you are subscribed to my newsletter. The link is right here, and also in the description box below. So yeah, keep those questions coming, keep those comments coming. I love to hear all of that. I think this is an amazing community. I feel like we have really come together over all of this, and some of the content that I shared wasn't an easy one to share, but your outpouring of support and love and just kind words has been so meaningful to me and has meant so much to me. I never thought that that would actually happen, but yeah, here we are, and I'm so grateful, and I love that you all are here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.